Hello, I'm Shelby Kepler, graduated 2018. Um, I go to Cal State Fullerton, and my major is criminology.
I'm Molly Hummel. I'm class of 2017. My major is mechanical engineering, and I go to the University of Tulsa.
Hi everyone, I'm Denise Rabaya. I graduated 2016, and I go to UC Riverside, and my major is economics and administrative studies with a concentration in financial accounting.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Butler. I graduated Diamond Bar in 2016. I go to Pepperdine University, and my major is physics with a minor in sustainability.
Hi, my name is Ashley Park. I go to Cal State Fullerton. I graduated last year and I currently study psychology.
Hi, my name is Ashley Payne. I graduated 2019. I am currently at UCR studying computer engineering, which is computer science and electrical engineering combined. And I plan to declare my minor as a business minor.
Hi, my name is Jeremiah Reyes. I graduated last year. I go to Cal Poly Pomona, and my major is biology pre-med.
Hi, my name's Casey Pua. I graduated 2019. I also go to Cal Poly, and I'm majoring in environmental biology, emphasizing in conservation and biodiversity.
Hi, I'm Tim. I graduated class of 2019. I go to Cal Poly Pomona, and I'm majoring in general biology.
My name is Matthew. I go to UC Berkeley, and I'm intended to major at economics.
My name is Daniel. I'm attending New York University. I graduated class of 2019, and I'm studying linguistics, psychology, and philosophy.
My name is Albert. I graduated last year. I go to Boston University and I'm studying public relations.
My name is Wesley. I graduated last year. I go to UC Berkeley and I study psychology and education.
Hi, I'm Hunter Ballingstrom. I graduated class of 2018. I go to Santa Monica College and I'm studying urban planning.
Hi, I'm Ewan. I graduated in 2019 and I currently go to Johns Hopkins. I'm majoring in public health and international studies with a focus on the environment.
Hi, my name is Alan. I also graduated last year. I go to Cal Poly Pomona and I'm studying civil engineering.
My name is Matthew Chu. I went to the class of 2015. I went to Mount Sac for 2 years and transferred to UCI as an aerospace engineering major.
So half of these speakers have been here earlier in the morning and about half just arrived. So some of the questions I'm going to try to guide so that they don't have to answer stuff they answered this morning. But unfortunately, I'm going to start with something similar to what somebody answered already this morning. Tell me the one thing you miss so far the most since you left home. Since you started college. Yeah.
Okay, so...
You know what, Molly? I would let everybody's answer if you guys don't mind. Start on an end and just go down.
I guess what I miss most is like not having to do like chores and stuff because like I live at Irvine.
I'm so sorry. You said what you miss most is chores.
Oh, my bad. I miss not having to do chores because like when you're at home, your parents do dishes, food's on the table.
Wow.
But yeah, so at Irvine, I have to like cook, clean, and do all that stuff myself.
Wait. You miss that you have to do that.
I don't have.
You miss not doing chores. I'm so confused.
I'm not an English major.
You miss that you don't get to do chores, or you miss that you have to do chores now?
I have to do chores.
Okay. I get you now. So you don't like that you now have to do chores, and you miss that your parents did all the work for you.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
I don't think I miss anything because I commute. So everything else is the same.
Your friends are the same? What you do every day is the same?
Not necessarily. Guess my old friends.
I have a hard time deciding between the weather and my bed, so I'll say both. And yeah, California's weather is, much nicer when you move to the East Coast.
I miss not being woken up by an ambulance every 10 minutes at my apartment.
You can't just say that and let it go. What?
I live down the street from, I live in downtown LA, sort of, and then just down the street is this fire station, and it's LA, so there's so many people around me.
So you currently did, when you were at school, experience being awakened every few minutes by an ambulance, and now that you're home, you miss that?
Oh, okay. Okay. I miss being able to interact with my teachers more in high school then.
Probably the biggest thing I miss is having my parents pay for food when I go out, because every time I eat out now, it's coming straight out of my paycheck.
I miss having alone time because I live with 3 other guys, and literally I've had 1 hour this entire semester where I've had the room to myself. So yeah, cherish just having your own room to yourself.
I miss the weather a lot, and the beach. It's the beaches here are really nice. When you go to New York and you go to the beach, it's great. It's kind of gross. I really miss the beach here, and yeah, cherish the weather here because it never goes over 20 degrees there.
I really miss home cooked meals because the dorm food isn't good. Yeah, and eating out isn't always the best either, so.
I would say, well, I mean, I live close by because I go to Cal Poly Pomona, but I would say friends, even though it's still close by. I mean, friends like Matthew, he's at Berkeley, and the rest of my friend groups are at other places that aren't so close, so definitely cherish the memories you have here. And Adam too, I calc with him. Yes, I miss him. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely what Tim was saying, missing your friends, because sometimes in college you don't have a lot of time. So I remember my first semester I was there from 8 till 11, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I just miss hanging out with old friends, friends, and still in high school. So just cherish those moments. It gets kind of tough in college.
What I miss the most is financial dependence on your parents, being hey, I need $20 for lunch, or hey, I'm low on gas, and then when you're an adult, your parents are you could pay for it yourself, which kind of sucks.
I think the thing that I miss the most is having a nice hot shower at home, because when you're in the dorms, you can't really turn the knob far enough into the heat, and it gets really cold. It's basically a cold shower, and it's really gross. You have to wear slippers and sandals and stuff, and be courteous. Don't leave a puddle on the floor. But other than that, dorm life is really cool.
I really miss the relationship I get to make with my teachers. In high school, you had one teacher for the entire year, and you saw them every single day. But in college, you see a professor, and they might not even know your name. So I kind of miss making that relationship with teachers.
I probably honestly would just say my family the most. Just hanging out with my parents. I know you guys probably don't think that's cool, but when you're in college, you're gonna miss it. So you should do that more often.
I would say home cooked meals as well, and the amount of sleep I used to get.
That is so true. I miss my parents paying for all of my food and not having to learn how to cook. That was nice at one point.
gonna say I miss having a regular sleep schedule, because now that I have classes sporadically, I kind of just sleep whenever I want. I also miss the no responsibility, because you parents drive you to school, you're in school for a certain amount of time, and then they pick you up and you go home. Now you're responsible for everything. You're responsible to get a job, go to class on time. It's your money, man.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the next question unless there's anybody in the audience who wanted to pose a question before I ask the next. Yeah.
How hard was it to adapt to college or first semester, I guess, especially those going out of state?
So how hard was it to adapt to college, especially your first semester, especially for those of you who went out of state? Anybody can answer.
I'm gonna be honest, it was difficult. I failed 2 classes. I'm being realistic here. It was, but it gets better. You just gotta adjust, and show up. Don't point at me.
Show up, that's huge. At one point, our teacher did the calculations and it's like, yeah, every class you miss, you're throwing away $250. We were just like, oh my goodness. Going out of state, the first semester wasn't hard. They did a good job of having an orientation, everybody had friends. But our second semester, I didn't actually look at what the weather was like out of state. There's no snow where I'm from, it's just ice and really, really cold. And so nobody wants to go out or anything, so I was just chilling. I was best friends with Netflix. But I think it's fine. You end up making a lot of friends in your major and it works out.
I don't remember much of my first year, but since I went to UC go to UC Riverside, the adjustment was not too bad since Diamond Bar is 30 minutes away, but and I saw a lot of Diamond Bar people, so having that support system and being comfortable in your own space, that's a point to that. But yeah.
I think when it comes to academics, it's really easy to adjust because of how rigorous Diamond Bar is, especially with the Cal program. I really, really like the Cal program here. It prepared me for any math that I did in college. But really the hardest thing is socially, and you have to really get out of your bubble to talk to people, to get to know people. First semester is really easy because everybody's trying to find friends, but once you get down to next semester or next quarter, it gets harder, and if you really need to be accountable to asking people to go and hang out rather than just randomly seeing them in class.
I'm gonna agree with Ashley and say academically, Diamond Bar was really hard, and then when you go to college, well, at least for me, the classes were a breeze to me.
Yeah, definitely. The Cal program it was pretty hard here, so it kind of set me up for Cal Poly, but kind of be blessed with homework. I'm dead ass serious, because one of my classes, they only put 3 things in, which was my essay, my midterm, and my final, so I had no homework to balance it out, so kind of be blessed with homework, because it helps balance your grades.
Yeah. They pretty much said it, the homework, it's not a big part of your grade. Only some professors will account it towards your grade. Mostly it's from tests and quizzes, midterms. But at least I don't know about the rest of the Cal States or UCs or out-of-state universities. At least at Cal Poly Pomona, it wasn't too hard to adjust because almost all my classes felt like high school. The capacity of most of my classes were 35 to 40 people. My bio lecture was it was a lecture hall, but that was about it. The rest of the classes were pretty much it felt like high school, except it's your choice whether to talk to people or not,
Yeah, adjusting was pretty hard, especially the social aspect, because you don't see everybody every day. So I made like 3.5 new friends, and oh yeah, I made 4 new friends up there, and like it's not the same. You have to like go out of your way to like talk to people, or you have to be kind of slick with it and like, hey, do you want to work on this together? But that means like hang out. But yeah, it's pretty hard adjusting, and
Yeah, guys, high school is so easy compared to college, to be honest. Like academic-wise, you're like, if I would put an example, like your college multiple choice exams are like answers, high school. In college multiple choice, it's like 3 answer choices, and the other 2 are like 2 of these or 3 of these. Like your test in high school is so easy compared to college. Also, I think like socially, it's pretty hard, especially when you're in the East Coast. It's a whole new culture and everything, but you have to realize that everyone's looking to make friends too. So especially within that first few weeks, like don't be afraid to just reach out, say hi, try to get to know people, even if it doesn't last. Like at least you got to meet people. And then also I urge you guys to really look for clubs that you're interested in, not just because for your college apps anymore, but like you actually like want to do something in the club, because you'll find a lot of people that you vibe with, and it's like for the next 3-4 years of your college.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think college is way harder. Like, in high school, like, I tried, I guess, but like, I didn't like try. But in college, like, I tried, and oh my god, like, those finals are no joke. I've never studied that much in my life, and yeah.
I would say academically, it's really what you make of it, because when I got to school and I went through orientation, my orientation leader told me freshman year was the worst year of her life, and I was so scared. So I really tried to overcompensate, and I immediately like cut out all of my bad habits that I had in high school, and surprisingly, I was fine. But academically, there's just some things that you have no control over. Like one of my classes, there are 3 things in the grade, and the professor doesn't give out A's unless it's phenomenal, whatever that means. There's no rubric. So sometimes you have to just take the grade, and like there are ways to make connections with your TAs and professors, and I think that's really important to do. Not just to raise your grade potentially, but just because they have a lot of insightful things to say beyond what the class curriculum offers. And I think socially, just be open-minded, because Diamond Bar, a lot of times you tend to congregate with the people of your own kind, and that's understandable. But once you get to college, you will be exposed, especially if you go out of state, to people from backgrounds you've never been friends with before, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Don't stick with your own kind always, because I think that really limits your social circles.
So Mount Sac has a pretty similar schedule to Diamond. It's a semester system, 16 weeks, and your classes are still small size. And then once I transfer to UCI, it's a lot faster because each quarter is 10 weeks. So by like week 8, you're like, the teacher says, final coming up, and you're like, what? I haven't even learned material yet. And then also, since class size is so large, lecture hall of like 300 people, except until you get to like upper division classes where it's like your own major, it's a lot harder to get to know a professor, and like, it's not like Diamond Bar where the professor will hold your hand the entire year. Like once it's like week 2 and you don't show up, the professor doesn't care anymore.
I'm going to ask the next question. So, in comparison to high school, I asked this morning, but I'm always fascinated to know how your relationship with video games has changed. Anybody can answer?
It hasn't. I still play as much as I want. Like,
Wait. I want some hours, some time.
so I was at school from like 8 to 11. I want to have some fun in my day, so I would like play video games till like 1 and sleep. I didn't I need some outlet of like enjoyment. How many hours I play a day? Like 2, 3.
Like, I didn't really play video games in high school, but once we got to college, like all my roommates, we all played like we all played League together. And like, sometimes when we don't have a lot of stuff to do, like this one time we played till like 6 a.m. Like it was like, we play all the time to like stay connected, to just like talk and stuff. But yeah, it's just like a good stress reliever. Just.
I can answer too. I didn't play games as much as I did, like in middle school and high school. So high school I did not play many video games. I was just busy with homework and sports and stuff. But college, I was influenced by my friends to start playing League of Legends again, and it's very toxic. It's do not fall for it, because it will get you. It can be addicting, because like, especially if you lose, and your friends are always gonna be like, let's play another one, let's play another one, let's run it back, let's run it back, let's do it again. Next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m., you know. But yeah, it's honestly your choice. If you wanna have leisure time, have some fun, have an outlet to play games, you know, it's up to you. But just remember what you're at college for, you know, so yeah.
Well, in high school, I used to play like 2-3 hours a day. But then in the past 2 years, I've probably played like 2-3 hours, period. And like, I was just getting a lot more busy with classwork and stuff outside of school and stuff. But I mean, if you want to use video games as your free time, that's always fine. But you just have to realize, like, don't use video games as a procrastination tool for your assignments and studying, because that is not good for your grades. And don't use it like to just avoid interacting with other people, like staying in all day, not being social.
Yeah, I play a lot of video games now. So, I don't know, like for my schedule, it's kind of like I had 2 or 3 weeks of like hardcore studying and like writing essays, and I'll have like another 2 weeks off. And then during that 2 weeks off, I'll play like 8 to 9 hours a day. And yeah, and it's like, cause my room is like the hangout room. Like my roommates are always bringing people into our room, and then sometimes I don't feel like talking to them, so I'll just play. I'll like put in my earbuds and just like play for hours, and then it's pretty consuming. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, you have a lot more free time in college. Like you have half the class time as you do in high school, and like I didn't play video games in high school, but I think it's a good way to like just reconnect with friends as well. I mean, like this man used to call me at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. He's like, "Yo, you want to hop on the Rift?" I was like, "All right." But no, like video games are a great way to like just de-stress and stuff. But really, if you manage your time well, you have plenty of time to play video games. It'll be fun.
I didn't play any games in high school, but going into college, we even had like Nintendo go on a tour into our school and then like set up a whole area for you to like try all their new games and stuff. But I really got into like Overcooked and Smash while being there. But the best part about that is like, you know, you actually get to like talk to people and like yell at them and stuff like that, like while you're playing games and stuff. But one of the biggest things that changed is that I used to watch Netflix like all the time, like during like doing like math homework or something like that, and like in Diamond Bar, you really have to focus once you're in college and you're doing your homework and studying and stuff. So I haven't really touched Netflix at all. Maybe like an hour a week.
In my house, we weren't allowed to do like no TV or video games or anything during the week to like encourage studying. And then when I went to college, that completely got blown out of the water. I play, I guess like Super Smash is like, it's super popular. Everybody plays that game. So it's like a really good social skill. That was the wrong choice of words. Okay, it can be a good thing to use as a social skill. It's very consuming and you'll prioritize gaming over sleep, so just like be really careful about that.
between work and school, I don't have time for anything.
Before I ask the next question, does anybody else want to ask a question? Yeah, go ahead. How do you manage your budget is the question.
I thought I was like, when I first went to college, since I was living like far away on the East Coast, my parents gave me like a good amount of money. I was like, oh, okay, I was like, say less. I was like, I'm loaded. But then like, the first month, like I spent it on so many like useless stuff. Like I went to Muji and I bought like those aroma diffusers, $70, and I never used it again. And like, towards the end, I had like 14 cents in my bank account. I couldn't even like go out and eat food. So yeah, you just gotta save money. You're not as rich as you like think you are.
You also kind of just have to make the most out of resources around you, like especially called textbooks. They'll want you to buy from the student store, which is like close to $50 per book. But if you like look around and ask a few upperclassmen or just join a lot of Facebook groups, there's a lot of people just selling stuff or making sure that you can get like cheaper options for things that you don't necessarily need that are new. So it'll just like help you maintain your budget, like what you need, and then you can have like more money to spend on like what you want around campus.
Okay, yeah. As far as the textbooks go, like there's something called pirating. It might be a little illegal, but it saves a lot of money. But like other than that, like just a lot of people, for first years especially, if you're dorming, you usually have a meal plan. Like actually use your meal plan. It's kind of hard to finish. I had like 60 swipes left at the end of the year, and like my school has Chick-fil-A in our meal plan. Like that's kind of hard to like give up. But budgeting is like just really be aware of what you're doing. Actually, sometimes it does help, like setting how much money you can spend every month, and then always like having extra just in case something happens. It takes like maybe 5 minutes, and you can set up a plan for yourself.
Work, like try to get a job. On campus is typically best. At least for me, like in the Cal States, the tax is phenomenal. Like, cause you're pretty much working for the state in a sense. So, like me, I'm a lifeguard at Cal Poly, and you know, it won't be long shifts like 3 hours and stuff. But when the money accumulates and like the tax, for example, say I get a $200 check, I'll get taxed like $2. Like if you think about it, that is amazing. Cause my other jobs, like at YMCA Pomona, like I get taxed like $20, $40, depends on how big the check is. But yeah, work on campus, dude, just find work, make money. Save.
Yeah, once I started my job, I realized that I spent like 80% of the money that I had on just like food on campus or off campus, or I'm like, because I commute, there's like a mall right by where the bus stop is, and 80% of the time I'm like, well, I have some time while I wait for the bus, why don't I get like Chick-fil-A or something? And that just like adds up and adds up. Especially when you have like books to pay for, you have like a bus pass to pay for, at least in my experience. So I found what helped me was like having a long-term goal and putting aside some money. So like one of my goals is to study abroad, and that's not gonna pay for itself, obviously. So just like putting money away every single time I get a paycheck, like a couple $100s, and then having that money away and not touching it. So I can save up for that, but also not spend so much money on like frivolous things that I don't need to have, but like it sparks joy. But that's not like practical.
So for two things that you especially need, mostly every single day of your life, actually cost a lot of money when you add it up: food and transportation. So like for food, you probably shouldn't eat out as much. I made the mistake my first semester. And like cook a lot more at home. Learn how to cook if you don't know already. And or if you just don't have enough money to get groceries and stuff, at least in California, you can get CalFresh if you qualify and get like nice groceries for free, like or subsidized. And then get to cook some fresh, delicious meals at home. And then for transportation, like if you're going 1 mile away and you have the time, like don't take an Uber. Like, that's dumb. Don't be dumb and wasting your money on the Uber like that. Like, just walk or take the bus, or if that's in your city, take the train or bike. Like, don't waste your money, like, driving a car or taking an Uber when you don't need to. Like, not everything is a rush.
Always have that mindset, do you really need it or do you want it? So throughout college, you're gonna have a lot of expenses, whether it's just gas or going out or buying that concert or rave ticket that you should use their, just recently, like people use their refund checks for concerts and whatnot. So it's just in that mindset of what your expenses should go to. And if you want to find a job on campus, there are websites that your school holds. Like for UCR, we have Handshake. I don't know if it's popular for other UCs, but you can just instantly apply through that and instantly get an interview and whatnot, as well as finding like budgeting apps on the Apple Store or whatever you use to see like what you really need to spend on. And go from there.
So this is the 21st century, so I'm sure all of your banks have like an app, and that will become your new best friend. Because every time your friends are like, hey, let's go out to eat, you always have to check and you're like, do I have money or do I not have money? And sometimes it's kind of sad, but sometimes you're like, sorry man, let's just say they want to go to Chipotle and you're broke and you're like, let's just go to McDonald's because I'm broke. You really just have to budget, and if you don't have the money, don't spend the money. Like, if my check didn't go through, I'm not about to like go to the mall and like buy some new Vans.
I would say that, yeah, I budget like very meticulously. I'll give myself like a budget for the week, and then I like just can't go over it no matter what, unless it's like books or something essential for school. And yeah, just like that app is like truly ends up being your best friend. You like check it all the time. You're like, okay, I only spent like only like $20 on groceries this week. All right, I can totally go to this concert.
I think that usually when you're dorming or at the campus that you're at, they give you like meal swipes, which is like you could like use that for food. And I really recommend that you use them because otherwise you're going out and buying food, which really adds up. But I would recommend like before your senior year going into your first year of college, I would recommend that you guys try to find a part-time job to try to save up during the summer so that you guys have something in your bank going into your college. And that really comes in handy when Black Friday comes around during first quarter. And you can also find like jobs on campus, just like someone like everybody else has been saying that you can find a way to budget if you really want something. Like a lot of people budget for studying abroad. That's something that you can look into, and you can sometimes it's cheaper than actually the tuition that you're paying at the college you're going to.
So what kind of saved me is the company that I work for has an option. Whenever I get a direct deposit weekly, 40% of that just goes into my savings and the rest goes into my checking. So I kind of don't have to do anything and my savings keeps fluffing up. So if you work for a company that does that, definitely take advantage of that because it is the best.
I would say definitely save your money. Because when I first started working back in September, I was like, great, now I'm gonna have all these extra money I didn't used to have laying around. So maybe I can, let myself go a little bit. So I actually went out and bought a computer monitor for my desktop. Then I realized the cables were really long and it just made a mess on my desk. So I bought an Apple TV to connect my laptop to the monitor. I could have just done it to my TV instead of buying the actual monitor. And it wasn't until the end of the month when I saw my statement, I'm like, I didn't save anything from my first paycheck. So yeah, definitely save your money. If you have extra money laying around, definitely save it because you don't know when you're gonna need it.
when talking about jobs on campus, I really recommend it because the campus jobs actually take into consideration the class schedule that you're gonna have during the quarter. So like they'll work around it for you. And also, like for me, I work at the newspaper room that we have, and it's only once a week. It's it's a minimum wage job, but then it's not going to take up as much time as some people think that jobs might be able to, unless you decide that you want to do that.
What
Do you
major?
guys know what major you wanted when you started college and have you changed majors?
Yes, I've known since I was a sophomore in high school.
No. When I was in high school, I was like, shoot, what the heck is my major gonna be? Like, literally, like, senior year, like, I'm doing my college apps, and I'm like, I don't have a major. So, I kind of just, like, looked at, like, my transcript from high school, and I was like, okay, which class do we do the best in? And then, like, I looked at, like, my AP scores, too, and I was like, okay, we're gonna choose bio. And then when I got to college, like once I started to take the classes, I was like, we're pretty good at this, so we're gonna keep it.
See, this is like my favorite question that people ask me as a college student. Like, oh my gosh, did you know your major from the beginning? No, I didn't. And that's okay. Like, you're not supposed to make a life decision at 18, right? Like, society doesn't set itself up that way. Your major doesn't necessarily matter once you get into your industry. Unless, like, the industry definitely requires you to have that degree. Like a doctor. You're right, you can't be a doctor unless you've gone to school to be a doctor. But from, like, majority of degrees, as long as you don't get a degree in art, like, you have, like, a okay, it's not that, it's the fact that you have a bachelor's degree, you can go into, like, so many different industries. So it's not a big deal if you don't know what you want to major in right now, or what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Okay, so I knew when I was a sophomore in high school because I took a special class that was held here by Mr. Sallier. I think he's gone, but I kind of just clicked with my major and it just came easily to me. That's really rare. But you can always change your major. It's not that big of a deal, and you can always go like unclassified. So you can decide when you're 22. Just do you.
I think that when it comes to deciding your major, like going into like college app season and stuff like that, oh, you guys are doing that. Oh, no, some of you are. Okay. So like you guys, it's really hard to choose between different things, and sometimes there are like majors that are pretty broad, and you can end up in like somewhere in the industry that you're thinking about. But something that happens in college is you take classes that are not a part of your major, so like GEs. Such as like, so I'm an engineering major, I have to take a psychology class, I have to take chemistry, bio, physics, all these different types of classes. You start to learn like what classes you really enjoy and which ones you dread. And you can change your major really whenever you want. And so it's not too big of a deal, but going into something that you think, I chose engineering because I thought that would be like the hardest one to get into once I got there. So I started with it versus going into it after being undeclared.
Remember, this is your major, not your parents' major. 'Cause I know growing up in Denver, we always have like expectations from our parents. So just remember what's interesting to you and try to stick with it. But if not, like we're growing in college as a person, individual. So just get involved in or take any class that like interests you, so you know like what kind of person you are and what you're interested in to major in.
My major hasn't really changed. I added a major, but overall I stuck with the trajectory that I was going into college with. However, a comment on if you realize halfway through your first year that suddenly you don't want to be in this major anymore, or even after your first year, after your second year, it's better to change then than to say, oh, I've already taken so many classes in this major, I need to major in chemistry or biology. Because it's better to waste those 1 or 2 years of your life than to spend your entire life doing something you don't enjoy. So if you're having like that sort of crisis, just change your major because it's not a good fit for you because you're gonna be doing this for the rest of your life. So don't think that, oh, because I wasted a year on this, I have to stick with it for forever.
For me, it wasn't until junior year that I knew what I wanted to do, but that was only because I went into Diamond Bar like as part of Brahma Tech, and then I took computer systems, and I was like, nope, that's not for me. And then I kind of did a complete 180, and it wasn't until I joined peer counseling that I was like, oh, I kind of want to major in psychology because this is something I'm really interested in and really fascinated about, and I love learning about it. So when I entered high school, I really wanted to do like mechanical engineering, but then within high school that like completely flipped. So like the same thing can happen in college, and because you have so much time and so many classes to explore, like it's totally okay if you don't know what you want to do and if you want to change what you think you want to do now.
I think more than like focusing on one specific subject that you want to study for 4 years, it might be more helpful to look at a broader goal that you want to accomplish with your degree. Like, what do you want to do when you get out? You don't necessarily have to know at this age what exactly you're going to do when you graduate from college, seeing as you haven't graduated from high school yet. But like for me, my broader goal is to work in environmental science. So okay, you can do that in like many different ways. So just honestly stick with a route and talk to people when you get into college, talk to professors, tell them what your interests are, what you hope to do after college, and they'll help you choose the right direction.
My advice while you're here, even at Diamond Bar right now, for helping find like what you want to major in, is that there's so many electives here at the school already to help you discover your interests. Like in freshman and sophomore year, I took the architecture program classes. That was a different teacher back then, but it helped me discover that I wanted to go into urban planning. And like those architecture classes aren't like necessarily, or like just elective classes in general, like don't always seem the best. Like, oh, like will this make me look good like on college transcripts? Like are they like these big core classes that I want to take to make my apps look better? But if you just explore your interests just a little while you're in high school as well, it'll go a long way in helping choose your major for college.
I think something that's really important is that you guys don't have to think that the major you're going to do is going to be the job that you do. A lot of times, like for me, I chose engineering because I really liked computers and engineering and stuff like that, but I don't really plan to work in the industry after this, but I like knowing the whole point of college is to learn. And you know, I'm going to have to relearn everything if I were to go into the industry anyway. They're going to train me to do the job that they specifically want, but you don't have to do the job that connects to your major all the time.
Okay, so whatever, like for seniors especially, like realize that whatever, and if you're planning to go to a private school, whatever major you guys like signed up for or anything, like it really doesn't matter. It's just to get you into whatever college it is. Like I'm already planning to switch my major before I even went to college. Like I literally just chose that major because it made sense for my college app. It's like it's really not that hard to change it, especially because your advisors don't have that much time to look at every single one of your classes. So if you kind of just like take the classes for another major, they can't really say no to switching because you're not going to graduate if you didn't do your major classes. But I recommend that you guys take like half of your classes as your GEs for semesters, and then also take other classes of interest. Like I don't think that it's ever going to be a waste of a class because you're exploring your interest and it does count as your graduation requirements. Like realize that most majors you only have like 10 classes that you have to take to get a degree in, and you have 32 classes that you can, 32 classes that you can take. Like you have so much time to explore what you want to do. Just make sure that you do what you're passionate about, and then like most colleges, you don't really declare your major either until like after your third semester in, so you have a lot of time.
So for community college, before you transfer to a different university, you have to first complete prereqs. So I chose aerospace engineering right off the bat. I figured out what schools I want to go to, and I picked my schedule based off of that. So I basically finished all the math, all the physics, all your lower division classes that you need before taking your specializations. So I knew a long time ago that what major I wanted.
The social scene and what you guys said, enjoying, not enjoying, wasn't what you expected, and your advice about the social scene in any way, not necessarily this party, but social life in general.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, so I'm just gonna make this quick. At Hopkins, sorority and fraternities aren't really big because the administration really hates Greek life. So really, clubs have stepped up and taken that role. So yeah, clubs still do a lot of hazing, initiation, things that, just being honest with you guys, like be careful. And be open-minded, but at the same time, know that you don't have to go through all of that to get into a certain club just because you think it's prestigious. So yeah, stay safe.
Okay, one of the biggest things that was emphasized was hey, look out for each other, which is a huge thing when partying. Don't let someone be dumb and get a little too crazy. Okay, if they're your friend, kind of look after each other. Don't get engulfed in that life. As an engineering major, the first year it was pretty easy, but as you go along, you got a lot more schoolwork. But some of the other majors have just a lot more free time, and I've seen a couple friends that have they just got too engulfed in that life. It's yeah, let's party every single weekend, and then they pull all-nighters all week. It gets bad. So just be careful. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, it's like a choice. You don't have to do it. Two of my roommates get drunk every weekend and pass out in the restroom, but it's your choice. You don't have to do that. One of them we found him passed out outside of our dorm in a Santa Claus costume, and we had to carry him back in the room. But
Yeah, I do not condone underage drinking or use of drugs, but if you choose to do so in college, please do so responsibly and make sure you're always with people that you trust. Especially for me being in New York City, most of the parties are closed off because it's all in venues. But if you get involved with some organization that has access to that, just make sure that you guys really focus on yourself first, and you always have a choice to say no. So yeah, but guys, don't drink. Yeah.
I think controlling how much you do it is important, because there was one point where I would go out every day, and then I was kind of just yeah, this is not for me. So I just stayed in and played video games and stuff. But it's if you don't feel like going out, you want to be lazy, you can just hang out in the dorms, hang out in someone else's dorm. There are other options other than partying, but partying is obviously fun. So just try to find a balance in your college career.
I feel like your first 2 years, you'll be exposed to different things and new things, I would say. But as you get older, the drinking, partying, and all that scene, it dies down for sure. And I forget that I'm 21, that I can legally buy stuff, but it's just having that mindset of knowing your limits, being in a safe crowd, make sure you get that Uber or Lyft when you're going home, and get involved in any social organizations that are on campus. Because throughout the 3 years or 4 years so far, I've been involved in so many organizations. So and meeting different people and how they party or just interact with one another, it gives you a more comfortable space in a sense. So just get involved.
When you go to college, you will be surrounded by drinking and alcohol and drugs. It's inevitable, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, it's obviously your choice. Don't be peer pressured into doing things you don't want. I would say parties, like, if you go to quite like a couple, I mean, for me, it's something like, at one point I'm like, why am I here? Like, it's sort of like a waste of time in a sense. And some parties you would have to pay, unless you're part of a frat or a sorority, but yeah, you still pay. Money, why? Like, save your money. Like, what you go out, like, it's not as fun. You're gonna approach people, or they'll approach you, and they'll be all friendly and nice. And I'm just thinking, like, you're probably not even gonna remember saying hi to me. Like, it's not fun when you get used to it. Like, it's kind of boring at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely back that up. Yeah, like everyone said, what everyone emphasized, please go in a group that you trust and you consider this family, and please take an Uber. I remember like my first few weeks I would go out a lot, a bit too much sometimes, but like it did make me appreciate just going out just as friends, like just to go like bowling, go watch the movies. It made me appreciate it a lot more. But yeah, just it makes you appreciate the nights where like you can remember stuff.
Can I add something? I work at a Asian Pacific Resource Center on campus, so I have to be familiar with like all the resources on campus. And I know there's this one department called case management, so it involves with sexual harassment, sexual assault, and all these like other like situations that can happen during your college life. So just be aware of like during orientation you'll go through like the process of like learning all this stuff, but just be aware and open-minded of like there can be like situations that can arise, and you'll get spams of emails of like from the UCR, or like for me like it's UCRPD that always emails you about things that happen on campus. So just make sure you're okay, like make sure you're always with someone, especially at night if you're a girl too, like it gets like scary at times. So
Yeah, to add on to that, when you go to college, you'll probably hear so many cases of people with like sexual harassment reports or stuff that happened to them when they were intoxicated, and like that's really messed up. So just really be careful of what you guys do, and then also like Greek life is a bait. Do not join it first semester. I highly do not recommend it. Live your college life before that.